Hey, Andy here. Let's say you found your dream car up for sale, but there's one problem. It hasn't been driven in months, or maybe even years. Maybe you're planning an extended vacation and you need to store your vehicle for a few weeks or months. Lucky you. You're wondering, how long can a car sit without being driven? What happens if it sits too long? How can you prep your car if you know it's not going to be used for a while? Do cars get lonely? Okay, maybe you're not wondering that last one. For the answers to your other questions, stay tuned. Automobiles were designed to be driven regularly, with fluids warming and cooling throughout the engine. When you leave your car unused for long periods of time, liquids can become coagulated or stale, resulting in damage or loss of their effectiveness. An unused car will eventually fall into disrepair, much like someone who stays on the couch every day. Anything past 2 weeks of inactivity will require some action to prevent immediate problems. Anything longer than 6 months will take some extensive preparation. Be aware that if your car goes into storage for a period of time, many things happen to the outside of your vehicle and inside the engine. Here's a rundown of some things that could happen. Don't be surprised if you try and fire up old Bessie after a few months of sitting around and getting no response. If you live in a very hot or cold climate, batteries will have difficulty recovering from the lack of use. And with today's computer-connected cars, parasitic drain from powering electronics will cause a slow discharge over time. As the months go by, flat tires may be the most obvious sign that your car needs care. Even the best tires will deteriorate in storage within 5 or 6 years because of natural elements, and if they are sitting stagnant in one position, they'll develop flat spots. Although synthetic oil can survive up to 5 years in a properly sealed container, once it's inside your vehicle, synthetics should be changed after 6 months because of condensation. Most manufacturers recommend oil changes every 6 months, regardless of mileage. When an engine sits unused, the motor oil doesn't circulate to cover all the components and slowly drains to the bottom of the engine. After several months, internal components can lose their lubrication entirely. Trying to run a dry engine is a great way to seize it up and land yourself a hefty mechanic bill, or worse. In this case, the engine may have to be opened up or turned over by hand to get the oil pump going before you try starting it for real. It's not just the synthetic oils that go bad. Gasoline can spoil too. Most vehicle gas tanks aren't completely airtight, allowing air to react with the gas, eventually turning it into a gel. It becomes unusable and will damage your fuel system, costing thousands of dollars to repair. Youch. Rust is another byproduct of oxidation, and it's highly dependent on the environment where your vehicle is parked. Because rust requires water to form, damp conditions will often lead to rusted metal, and chemicals like the salt used on winter roads accelerate that process. You can't expect bare metal to start forming surface rust in less than a week. The more time your vehicle's left unprotected, the deeper the rust can form. You may not think you have mice and rats in your house, but leave your car in the garage for a few months and you may find them in their new home, your car. When they take residence in your vehicle, they'll chew and take everything they need from the wires, insulation, and rubber to make their nests. The longer they're left alone, the larger their family will get. Rubber or synthetic parts will age over time, but in the case of hoses, the lack of fluid flowing through them will cause them to dry out and crack. Pay particular attention to your vehicle's maintenance schedule with regard to drive belts, hoses, and bushings. With a car in storage, these parts might need to be replaced within 5 years. Extreme heat or cold is detrimental to a car. Your vehicle is affected by temperature even when parked in a garage for long periods of time. Temperature swings can cause moisture to condense in or on the motor, and because the car isn't driven, water will not evaporate through the tailpipe. This can cause rust and contamination of oil, gas, and other vital fluids. You'll save unseen trouble by driving at least once every 2 weeks for 10 miles or more at 50 miles per hour or higher. This lets your engine warm up to operating temperature and warms up the brakes, heats the transmission and radiator fluid, and moves the springs and shocks. Newer vehicle models emerge from long periods of inactivity with fewer issues than older models. However, regardless of the vehicle's age, if you can't drive the bare minimum, take extra precautions to try and stop it from deteriorating. Regardless of how you store your vehicle, wash and wax the exterior to prevent corrosion and paint damage from dirt and moisture. Clean your interior of trash and food items that tempt rodents. Preserve the interior with leather and vinyl protection. Storing your car in a climate-controlled garage is the best option, as you can control its temperature, humidity, dust, and contaminants. If you don't have access to a climate-controlled space, any garage is better than leaving a car outdoors. Ensure the space is well ventilated and open the car windows slightly, which prevents moisture from building up inside the vehicle. Consider investing in a dehumidifier, which keeps the air in the garage dry as well. If outdoor storage is your only option, you can still take steps to prevent damage. Invest in a high-quality padded car cover. Prolonged sun exposure damages your vehicle's paint, seats, and dash more than virtually any other element. A car cover keeps dust, objects, and small animals away from your car. For extra safety, stuff clean rags into the exhaust pipe and any other areas creatures could nest. Place rat traps and animal repellents inside the engine compartment, trunk, and interior. When it comes to your battery, you have some choices. If you have a cold winter or hot summer coming up, disconnect your battery and take it inside a temperature-controlled location with adequate ventilation. If you have your vehicle in a garage, purchase a battery tender, also known as a trickle charger, to automatically charge your battery when needed. After it charges your battery, the charger will switch to storage mode. Purchase a good tire gauge and an electric air pump to check and fill your tires to the recommended pressure. If you plan on storing the car for a few months, place the vehicle on jack stands to prevent the tires from getting flat spots. Older transmission fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid, and coolant will have contaminants and damaged components if left in the vehicle while in storage. It's a good idea to perform maintenance and replace these with new fluids before storage. While you're at it, have your gas tank at least 90% full and use a fuel stabilizer before putting your car in extended storage. This will limit opportunities for fuel condensation and contamination. Follow these steps if your car doesn't start. Before you start any mechanical shenanigans, safety first. Grab a pair of non-conductive mechanic gloves, a face mask, and safety glasses. Next, disconnect the battery and clean up any oil or gas spills near the battery. If your car was left outside this whole time, check under the car, under the hood for any debris, leaves, or nests that may have been left behind by some critter subletters. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area and try to coax your car to life using jumper cables and a live battery car with the same voltage battery, or a jump starter. If the jump start doesn't work, you'll most likely have to replace the battery with a new one. If that still doesn't get your car to go vroom, you may need a new starter motor. Don't forget, once you get your car running again, replace all the fluids, including fuel, and check filters and all the hoses, gaskets, tires, and brake lines, and replace anything that shows signs of deterioration. Have any experience with starting up long dormant automobiles? Give us your tips in the comments below, and don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel for more guides and how-tos. Happy driving!